Yeah, so competing this past summer in Tokyo was what an amazing experience it was.
アスリートのコアの部分に迫るスポーツコア。こんにちは、ナビゲーターのはじめです。今回のアスリートはこちら。陸上の 200m のパラアスリートで2017年の世界陸上で金メダルを、東京パラリンピックで銅メダルを獲得されたジャリッド・ウォレス選手です。東京パラリンピックを通して経験したこと、またその先のチャレンジについて伺っています。それではご覧ください。
Hey guys, my name is Jared Wallace. I run track and field professionally for the United States Paralympic team. I am a 3-time Paralympian, 3-time world champion, 4-time world record holder, and most recently the Tokyo 2020 bronze medalist in the 200-meter dash. I have a beautiful wife of 5 years, an amazing 2-year-old boy named Levi, and it is an absolute pleasure to be able to be here today and share my story with you all. Yeah, so my mom was a Canadian national champion runner. She was an all-conference runner at the University of Georgia, where my dad played tennis and still coaches tennis today, and where I went to school, my wife went to school. Mom being a runner, dad being active. I grew up, before I could even walk, they were training for a marathon and pushed me in a baby jogger during that entire training process. So running's just always been a part of my blood, my upbringing. It was probably like second or third grade before I realized that not every kid got woken up at 6 a.m. to go run local 5Ks and fun runs in the morning in our local community. So that was what we did as a family. Like, we just loved that. That was our start of our Saturday, start of our weekend was going and doing that with the fam. So it wasn't until probably high school where I actually started getting competitive in running. I played tennis. That was my primary sport my whole life. I was nationally ranked. I thought I was going to go to college to play tennis. And then sophomore year of high school, I got third at state in cross country and realized that my ceiling or my potential to extend potentially beyond college in athletics was a lot higher than tennis. And so I set down the tennis racket, picked up the track spikes, and never looked back. Yeah, so competing this past summer in Tokyo was what an amazing experience it was. A city and a country I've fallen in love with over the past 4 or 5 years, and just really grateful that the event was able to happen. And there's just a lot of things going on, and grateful to have come away with a bronze medal. I think the delay inherently was good on all fronts for me. My body needed to heal. I had an Achilles injury that really needed time to heal. And so there was a little bit of a silver lining in there, and kind of a blessing that time gave me and my body as an athlete to heal. The second thing, and this was kind of I was putting a lot of pressure on myself going into the games in Tokyo. This was the first games that I was going to where I had great sponsors and a lot of support. So there were these external factors that, they're not putting pressure on me, but from an athlete's perspective, I don't want to let anybody down, right? There's that kind of concept of that you owe someone something, or there's this worth or value that comes with that. And I was just kind of on autopilot. I was on autopilot trying to get my body healthy. I was on autopilot trying to be the best athlete I could. I was on autopilot trying to do all the things that, sponsored athletes are supposed to do to appease their sponsors. And it was, it got really distracting. And so about halfway through the postponement, I was able to kind of get my mind clear again and refocus my why. I think was kind of a big thing that I really had to lean back into. And what I mean by that is, when you're pursuing something, whether it's in business or whether it's a sport endeavor or whatever it may be, you have an option to build your foundation in what you do, or you have an option to build your foundation and the why you do it. And what I've realized is that when you put when you build a foundation on just what you do, it's very unstable, and you're extremely dependent on the outcome or the performance of something. Whereas if you develop a why, which is kind of your foundation, which is the thing that can kind of bring you back to center, and more often than not, the why is not directly related to the task at hand. It's a lot. You have a lot higher probability to endure the moments that aren't going to be smooth, right? Because when you're training for 4 years, when you're training for 4 years for an event that lasts 10 seconds long, which is a crazy concept, there's a lot of things that are going to go wrong. And so, when I look at my why, when I look at the foundation of what I do, there's 3 simple things. The first is my faith in Jesus and who he says I am. The second is my family and my role as a husband and a father. And the third thing is my legacy, what I want to leave behind, which is, for me, not about sports performance at all, but it's about creating opportunities for people to have similar experiences as myself, and with adaptive technology and prosthetic equipment. And so, having that be the foundation of what I do is really helpful when things don't go well. And so again, why the pandemic inherently was good for me is because it gave me that time and it gave me that space to recognize that I'd kind of been going down a path that was leading to destruction for, in one way, shape, or form, right? And it gave me that space to recenter myself to my why and relay that foundation. Yeah, I think it's becoming a student of the sport, right? It's becoming a student of your craft. It's knowing every detail of every variable that comes into play. It's having an A, B, C, D, E option so that you can check down when that thing doesn't go well. For me, in a 100-meter dash, right, I take up between 48 and 50 steps. There's kind of that set in race for me. I have check downs as I go through the race, but there really is no such thing as a perfect race, but there is this idea of managing the imperfections that happen perfectly. So the idea about managing the uncontrollables, managing the things that you can't prepare for, and knowing that you have the giftedness, the skills, and the preparation to manage those perfectly. That's when you start seeing really great performances. That's when you start seeing really consistent performances. And I'm talking from a sports standpoint, but this can apply in business. This can apply in life. This can apply in any areas, right? So, you go and you have a plan for a race, and the gun goes off, and, step 5 doesn't go the way you want to. It's not about throwing in the towel and not finishing the race because step 5 didn't go well. It's like, okay, here's what happened at step 5. And based on my training and based on the things that I've practiced day in and day out and that I know about my body and myself, here's what I'm going to do now. And this is going to take me through the rest of the race. And I'm still going to have a really great race. So at the end of the day, I think that the great athletes manage the imperfections perfectly. So I would say the core of sprinting is having a great race strategy, having a great plan to execute that race strategy, and then managing the imperfections as they come. I'm really excited about the future for a couple of different reasons. First and foremost is a few days ago I started back training. I am going to compete for the next 3 years, so I'm gonna commit 3 more years to Paris in 2024 for the Paralympic Games. So that'll be my 4th games if I make the team. I'll be 34. Really excited to announce that. I'm also making a little bit of a shift. I'm gonna lay down the 200 and focus on the 100 and the long jump. So I'm picking up a whole new event, and I think I'm just doing that for me a little bit. I've been doing the same thing for a decade, and I'm really excited to tackle a new challenge. I'm really excited to learn about the long jump. It's an extremely technical event. I love technique. I love the nitty gritty. I love the details. And I really do think it's an event that's built for me, for my personality, for how I dissect the sport as a whole. So I'm really excited for the new challenge, and we'll see. Hopefully, you'll find me on the podium in something a little new come Paris 2024. So from a sports and kind of life side, that's something I'm really looking forward to. So for anybody out there who is wondering what does it take to reach new heights and reach new levels, first thing, you need to have goals. The value of goals is so important. The value of dreams are so important. Dreams are so far away, and there's something that gets you moving. Goals are the little baby steps and the little victories that give you the direction and the affirmation along the way. So make sure you set big dreams and make sure you have goals that will help you work towards those dreams. The other thing that I say is massively important is to understand what your why is and not putting so much emphasis on what you do. So instead of emphasizing your performance, your race, your match, your game, whatever it may be, knowing and understanding your why, because your why is the foundation. It's the thing that everything that you do comes out of. It's the thing that when something doesn't go the way you want it to, or when a match or game or practice isn't going the way you want to, you can go back to that foundation. You can go back to your why, and you can let that drive the things that you do moving forward. So make sure that you have great dreams, make sure you set great goals, and make sure that you lean into your why.
この夏のパラリンピックの感動が思い出されましたし、そこに至る思い、またこれからのお話も聞けて今後が楽しみですね。次回も今回入りきらなかったジャリッド・ウォレス選手のインタビューをお届けします。お楽しみに。チャンネル登録とグッドボタンよろしくお願いします。それではまた。